In a world where communities rely on each other for safety and support, the sudden onslaught of a snowstorm can turn a routine day into a chaotic struggle for survival. This narrative delves into the experiences of those caught in a fierce winter storm, highlighting the profound impact such events have on individuals, families, and the broader community. The storm came without warning, catching everyone off guard. It was a typical day on one of North America's busiest highways, where the morning traffic flowed smoothly and the skies remained clear. Drivers expected a regular commute through Toronto, but the tranquility was deceptive. Just 80 kilometers east of the city, near Bowmanville, a whiteout was rapidly descending from Lake Ontario, heading straight for Highway 401. This highway, the lifeline connecting countless cities and towns, would soon transform into a scene of confusion and danger. Sergeant Carrie Schmidt of the Ontario Provincial Police, OPP, was among the first to receive the weather advisory. She knew all too well how quickly winter conditions could turn deadly. With each snowflake that fell, the risk of accidents skyrocketed. When we get into winter weather, we see an exponential increase in the number of collisions, she remarked, reflecting on the countless incidents she had responded to over the years. The community depended on her and her team to manage the chaos that was about to unfold. As the storm intensified, drivers found themselves struggling to maintain control on the icy roads. Steve Pauline, a seasoned tow truck operator, sensed the impending disaster. Over the radio, he urged his drivers to prepare for the worst. "Guys, it's going to happen," he warned, his voice heavy with the weight of experience. Steve's concern wasn't just for the vehicles that would inevitably slide off the road, but for the families who would be stranded, terrified, and in desperate need of help. The community of tow truck drivers, often unsung heroes in such situations, sprang into action. Among them was Prince, a new driver who had been on the job since the previous night. Despite his exhaustion, he knew he had to push on. The conditions were rapidly deteriorating, and traffic was slowing to a crawl. The drivers faced a grim reality. As the snowstorm intensified, the likelihood of a major collision increased with each passing minute. And then it happened. Within minutes, 10 kilometers of Highway 401 were engulfed in chaos. The snowstorm hit with a ferocity that left no time for reaction. Roads turned into sheets of ice, and vehicles slid helplessly into one another. "It's like a skating rink out here," one driver remarked, capturing the sheer helplessness felt by those trapped in the storm. The chain reaction of collisions was unavoidable, a domino effect that ensnared at least 50 vehicles in its wake. The aftermath was a scene of devastation. Cars were piled up, debris scattered across the highway, and the sound of emergency sirens filled the air. Yet, amidst the wreckage, there was a small glimmer of relief. Most of the injuries were minor, but the real challenge had just begun. With Highway 401 shut down, the entire region was paralyzed. The community's daily rhythm was disrupted, and the ripple effects of the closure were felt far and wide. In the face of this calamity, the resilience and determination of the community shone through. Tow truck drivers, undeterred by the treacherous conditions, navigated their way through side streets to reach the scene. They knew that the faster they cleared the wreckage, the sooner life could return to normal for the thousands of people affected by the storm. This event is a stark reminder of how closely knit our communities are and how dependent we are on each other in times of crisis. The snowstorm may have come out of nowhere, but the response from the community was anything but. It was a testament to the strength and solidarity of individuals working together in the face of adversity. As we reflect on the events of that day, we are reminded of the importance of preparedness, the value of experience, and the power of community. The snowstorm was a force of nature, but the response was a force of human spirit. It is in these moments that we see the true character of a community, a collective determination to protect, support, and uplift one another, no matter the circumstances. The aftermath of the snowstorm continued to reverberate throughout the community, highlighting both the vulnerabilities and strengths of those living in the affected areas. As the immediate danger passed, the focus shifted from survival to recovery, and it became clear that this event would leave a lasting impact on everyone involved. In the days following the storm, the local community came together to support those who had been most affected. Families who had been stranded on the highway were offered shelter in nearby homes and community centers. Volunteers worked tirelessly to provide food, warm clothing, and emotional support to those in need. The sense of solidarity was palpable, as people who had never met before bonded over their shared experience of the storm. The incident also sparked a broader conversation about the importance of emergency preparedness. Many residents realized that they were not adequately prepared for such a sudden and severe event. Discussions in community meetings and local government offices began to focus on how to better equip both individuals and the community as a whole for future emergencies. Suggestions ranged from improving communication systems to stockpiling essential supplies in public buildings. For the first responders and tow truck drivers who had been on the front lines during the storm, the experience was a stark reminder of the critical role they play in keeping the community safe. Many of them spoke about the emotional toll of the event, particularly the moments when they feared they might not be able to reach those in need. Yet, despite the challenges, they were proud of the work they had done and the lives they had helped protect. The storm also brought to light the often overlooked issue of mental health in the aftermath of such traumatic events. As the community began to recover, local mental health professionals stepped up to offer counseling and support to those who had been deeply affected by the storm. This included not only the victims of the accidents but also the first responders, who had witnessed the chaos and destruction firsthand. The community recognized the importance of addressing the psychological impact of the storm, understanding that healing was not just about repairing physical damage, but also about supporting emotional well-being. As time passed, the events of that fateful day became a part of the community's shared history. Stories of bravery, kindness, and resilience were recounted in local newspapers, at community gatherings, and in the homes of those who had lived through the storm. These stories served as both a reminder of the dangers of winter weather and as a testament to the strength of the human spirit. In schools, teachers used the storm as a teachable moment, discussing with students the importance of being prepared for emergencies and the value of community support. Students were encouraged to think about what they could do to help others in times of need, fostering a sense of responsibility and empathy from a young age. The local government, too, took lessons from the storm. They began to implement new policies aimed at improving road safety during winter months, including more frequent weather advisories, better coordination between emergency services, and increased funding for road maintenance. These measures were designed not only to prevent future accidents but also to ensure that the community was better prepared to handle them if they did occur. But perhaps the most enduring legacy of the storm was the way it brought the community closer together. In the face of adversity, people reached out to one another, offering help and support without hesitation. Friendships were forged, and a stronger sense of community emerged, one built on mutual respect, trust, and the understanding that, in the end, we are all in this together. As winter turned to spring, the memories of the snowstorm began to fade, but the lessons learned remained. The community had been tested by nature, and it had risen to the challenge. The scars left by the storm were a reminder of what had been lost, but they were also a symbol of what had been gained. A deeper connection to one another and a renewed commitment to ensuring that no one is left to face such challenges alone. The snowstorm was a moment of crisis, but it was also a moment of clarity. It revealed the fragility of our daily routines and the strength of our collective resolve. In its wake, the community emerged not just as survivors, but as a unified force, ready to face whatever challenges the future might bring. This experience served as a poignant reminder that, while we cannot always control the forces of nature, we can control how we respond to them, and in doing so, we can build a stronger, more resilient community.